and our executive team. So people ask, well, why now? It's a good time. We have been working together as collective agencies, federal, local, and state agencies. But it's time now that we reconvene and make sure that we're all on the same page with intelligence, things that we need to do, hot spots, those most violent individuals in our community, and going out and targeting them. Those individuals who have been arrested and charged and waiting to go to court. The district attorney's office was here. The federal prosecutor's office was here. We're going to provide a list of those individuals, the worst, most violent individuals, and get that to the courts. Also, there are some individuals out here who've been charged but not arrested, who are causing havoc in our community. We're going after them. We're going to use the strong arm of a combined law enforcement team, regardless of the agency. Everybody that's here working this area, we're going to work together. So it's a good day. Now, do I have every strategy that we're going to use? No, I don't. This is our first meeting. But I'm telling you, going forward, you're going to see surges in some areas and some hot spots that you've never seen before, because we all agree. And let me tell you something. When I got sworn in or appointed, I said that I wasn't going to do a public fight with our criminal justice partners, and I'm not going to do that. But I'm telling you, every leader from every agency at this meeting expressed the frustration that the frontline officers and deputies and agents are feeling because the court systems are not moving fast enough. But we have been in conversations with them, and I'm feeling good about what they're going to do and coming up and catching up with everybody else. So I'm not here to say anything negative, but we're here to hold everybody accountable, including ourselves. But we have to get the courts moving. If we're arresting people, but they're not going to prison when they need to, that's a problem. So I'm really trusting that every leader in the criminal justice system is going to do his or her part to get things moving for us. Because no matter how many arrests we make, if we cannot get them in prison where they need to be, and this is a few individuals that's really violent, over 1,500 murder cases need to get pushed through. I understand 500 are capital murder. They are roaming around in our community. Now let's stop blaming one another, but let's everybody get in the solution game, and that's what this is about today. But I'll open it for questions.
When you say the 1,500 murder cases and 500 capital murder, is that like, what's the reference on that? What's like the time frame, where there's just outstanding?
I don't know the time frame. You understand that our courts have been closed down, and let me preface this. Nobody ordered up Hurricane Harvey, okay? It wrecked the criminal justice complex. No trials for a year, and then COVID rolled in, okay? And we understand that. But it's now high time that everybody pulls together. And we even talked about triaging cases, low-level nonviolent, some person that needs treatment. We're not worried about that. Get that out of the system. Do whatever you can. Hold people accountable, but we're worried about the most violent offenders. So I don't have the timelines on them. Those are just cases that are backed up and had not been processed through the courts.
Just currently outstanding?
Yes.
Chief, what is the process of getting the courts moving look like?
I don't know that, and you have to share that with them and ask them. But I can tell you, and I want to say this respectfully, we have been having meetings with judges and other officials in Harris County, and they're trying, but we all need to work together, and everybody need to do their part.
Can you talk about why we're here today? Was there a specific instance that sparked this summit? Is it the rise of crime that we're seeing locally?
I think it's in preparation of the summer, and also some of the crime waves that's going around. It's just time that we refocus. as a complete community. There was so many agencies represented here, the head of the agencies represented here today, and it was a productive meeting.
Chief Finner,
Go ahead.
there were a number of members of law enforcement here. We understand the situation with the courts, but there's also the issues with the violent crime that's out there. Was there any discussion or was any type of agreement that came to at the end of this with regards of establishing or the creation of a special task force, separate from what we're already seeing?
Yeah, that's part of it. But Mario, to be honest with you, we have task force, and I told you. And let me give you just one statistic, okay, regarding homicides. And this is why our officers are so frustrated, and this is why you see frustration between the officers, because we hear this talk all around the nation. Oh, police officers, they de-policing, they slowing down. We got the stats, and we're gonna share it with you, and probably as early as tomorrow. There has been no de-policing when you come to Harris County, Houston, Harris County. Officers are moving forward. Each year, the last 3 years, our felony arrests have increased, including this year. But let me just share one thing with you. 27 arrests in 2021 on homicide. 24 of those individuals were out on bond. That's 89%. 17 of the 24 were on bond for violent offenses. So we can do a lot, and we're going to continue to do a lot. We're never going to give up on the public, and I don't mind answering difficult questions, but we got to speak the truth here.
You indicated just now 27 arrests. Can you repeat that stat? 27 arrests for
This
how much?
is just, 27 arrests. Out of 27 arrests, 24 of them were out on bond.
That's
That's
this year.
89%. Yes, sir. Yeah.
So how does that make you feel, reading that number?
It doesn't make me feel good because we're talking solutions, okay? So how do we collectively, as Harris County, how do we bring things together and do what's best for our communities, our police officers on the front line, and every citizen? How do we do that? And I'm not going to sit back and say it is when it isn't, okay? It is what it is. And we all need to agree to that and see that and do something about it.
So do you think it's the bond system that's failing?
I don't know if it's the bond system by itself. I've been pretty open. I've said a number of reasons. So I don't want to put it off on one thing, but I'm just saying everybody needs to come together. And when you sit down at a table, talk some solutions, okay? And that's what we all need to do. What's the plan? Because I'm going to come up with a plan. We don't have a plan right away. This is our first meeting. But just on the stats and the arrest stats that we have out here, but we're still doing a good job. But if you have hundreds of super violent criminals on the streets, we got to do something about that. As a community, as Houston, Harris County, we have to do something about that.
All right, Chief. I got from KHOU. Many women are scared to do everyday activities like going to the grocery store or to the bank. What is your message to women in particular?
I think anybody should be vigilant. But let's look at, and we'll release some stats about the Pacific victims. Most of the people in Houston, Harris County that's a victim of a homicide and violent crimes, and I'm not blaming every victim don't have anything to do with them becoming a victim. But a lot of the homicide is based upon the relationships, the activities that you're doing. The mayor and I, we've talked about it before. You can't be out selling drugs or doing something crazy with a group of criminals, and it's this dangerous, or going out 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, taking risks that you don't have to take. We got to be smart as the community and help the police as well. But everybody needs to be vigilant.
KHOU again. What's being done to protect them?
Just what we said, the same things that we've been doing. But everybody has to take some responsibility. Everyone. This is a collective activity that we have to have with everybody involved. All our federal partners, our Harris County, ATF, FBI, DPS, everybody's here in the law enforcement community, but, we got to stand up as a community.
All right, we got Telemundo. Houston's homicide rate is up 35% from 2020 to 2021. What is being done to guarantee the safety of the community?
I know they're asking a question, but I'm not going to keep saying the same thing. I've said that. The same thing that we're doing. But you know what? Y'all asking the police officers all the time. I just said, and I want to be respectful in this. We're making arrests. If you playing a football game and it's only 11 people on that field on the opposite side, but you stack it up with 22 and you playing against 11, what results are you going to have? So translate that to what's going on these streets right now. There's too many violent criminals out there. And we have to come up with solutions.
Telemundo again. According to Crime I'm sorry, where am I at? Okay, according to Crime Stoppers, 85 of the 120 victims have been killed in 2020 and 2021 by defendants released on multiple felony bonds in the Houston area. How do you feel about that, and where do you stand when it comes to the bonds for violent criminals?
It's frustrating, but I answered it, and we're going to have to work together. We're going to have to work together. If there's a bond issue, we got to fix it. Okay?
All right. Telemundo again. House Bill 20 will eliminate PR bonds for defendants charged with violent crimes such as murder and human trafficking. Do you support HB 20?
I support common sense bond system, a risk-based bond system. If it's that, I support it, okay? Bond reform. And let me answer this, and that's all I'm going to say about bonds, okay? Bond reform and bail reform, we never should have been arresting people, low-level, non-violent people who need treatment. That's what we should be looking at when we're looking at bond. But it was never meant to release the most violent criminals, time and time again, back in the community. Since when did we forget about victims? And understand, and I'm not pointing the fingers at anybody. Since when in the state of Texas, in Houston, Harris County, that some kind of way a violent suspect or violent suspects have become so important? Now, whoever to blame or whatever it is, not concerned about that. You know what Chief Finner is concerned about? What's the solutions? What do we do to fix it? And how do we move our county, our city forward? All right.
How about the next reporter?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Chief. So, as long as we're talking about solutions here, is there anything else you think the court system could be doing specifically besides just like expediting cases? Are there other changes there you'd like to see?
I'm not going to
more courts,
yeah.
or just what else could happen on that front?
I respect your question, but what I want y'all to do, okay? Go and talk to them, and because I don't want to answer for them. They are our partners, and I respect them, and we've been having a lot of meetings. But just as y'all talking to us, talk to everybody in the criminal justice system, not to throw stones at them and say, oh, it's your fault and the sky is falling. The whole nation is experiencing this. So we need everybody stepping up to the plate. Whatever side you're on, I don't care. I really don't care. Step up to the plate and let's get this thing moving in the way it needs to be moving.
And then just one other very quick question. Is there anything specific that you attribute to more defendants out on bond than committing more crimes? Is there anything specific to where we're at right now?
I've addressed a number of them, and I'm going to leave it at that. Okay? Thanks. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure the pool, did you ask all the questions for the pool?
Yeah, the other questions you've answered them, but I'm just going to ask one more. What
right.
would you say to community members who've lost loved ones to violence?
Hey, anytime our community members lose someone, you're talking to a chief who have lost 2 family members in recent years to violence. So I know the pain. I know it, and I understand the pain. So any person who loses someone to violence, my heart and our collective hearts go out to them. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure that they're brought to justice. But we have to keep looking out for one another. And everybody in the criminal justice system has to take an active role in getting this thing rolling in the direction that it needs to roll in. And and if I sound frustrated today, I'm sorry, because I am. Our officers, are frustrated on the front line. I'm frustrated, but I'm not frustrated to the part that we're going to give up. We're going to keep charging forward, and we just need everybody, our community and every person that's a leader in this criminal justice system in Houston, Harris County to move forward with us, and that's all that we ask, and that's not asking too much.
Chief, we've been to a number of these news conferences in recent months, even with the previous chief. Could tell that people are fired up. I can see the frustration. I don't think we've ever asked this question. It just dawned upon me.
Yeah.
Why is it that no one's respecting law enforcement out there, in your opinion, right now, with regards to the criminality?
I can't tell you what they thinking, and if I had that answer, that I guess that I'd probably be sought after for every police department, and that's not what I want. Because when I get through from here in a few years, I'm gonna wrap it up.
But there is a lack of respect out there. There's no doubt.
I don't doubt that, and we see it all the time. I think it's a part of what's going on in society. Why? I don't know, but I ask people, respect our officers, respect someone who is, trying to serve and protect. Respect it, but it is, and Mario, that's a legitimate question. I don't know.
Earlier this week, you had a carjacking. The suspect was just 14 years old. Are you guys seeing a trend of younger
Yes.
criminals?
Thank you for asking that question. It is. It is, and we talked about that today in our meeting. Violent criminals are becoming younger, and a juvenile has some rights, more rights in the system, and more protection than adult offender. So that's a challenge too, and that's something that we're going to have to work about, and legislators are going to have to step in. But since you're talking about juveniles, it's a whole nother thing. We need to make sure that we're cultivating and we're loving our youth and our community and spending time with them. And we need to start funding more programs, and people need to get involved. Fathers, so-called fathers, absentee, they need to step up as well. And I can say that. I'm from the neighborhood.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief.
Y'all good? Hey, thanks.